welcome back, watch fans. We got a very special episode for you today. We're talking about the secret Rolex's secret plan to uh, dominate the watch market, and we're talking about essentially Rolex wants to be the number one player, and they want to crush Patek Philippe. That's right. Unbelievable but true. That's right. Their target is Patek Philippe. And what they did actually was brilliant. It's right underneath everybody's noses. So what are they doing? Look, Rolex has always had the big thing that they were always missing was they were never really taken seriously as makers of like complications or dress watches, things like that, right? And they acquired was it the Bucherer, the retailer. They got great distribution now. So two things actually. This acquisition is actually kind of a brilliant acquisition. I mean, it's actually this might be one of the best business deals of all time because what they've done is two things. It's not even so much. It's not even so much about the distribution, which is really good. And you're going to see, these so-called, boutique only watches that they're going to sell directly through Bucherer. But what it's really all about is they are taking over the technology, right? They're basically picking up the Carl F. Bucherer platform. And from what we understand, what we're hearing from our sources, that's the we're gonna name our top secret Rolex source as Mr. Magoo. That's right, Mr. Magoo, the Swiss elf. Mr. Magoo, the Swiss elf, has revealed to us the secret plans of Rolex to dominate horology. We're talking about, they want to be on top of Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Vacheron. And can they do it? I think they could get very, very close. And here's how it works. It's really simple. Look, the Swiss, right? The Swiss, they are taking a lesson. Okay. So this is what we're hearing from Mr. Magoo. Do you remember when BMW bought Range Rover? Remember BMW bought or Land Rover, whatever they call themselves, Land Rover, Range Rover, whatever it was, right? I think this was the early 2000s. Why did they do it? They did it so they could basically steal the SUV technology. They can steal the SUV platform because SUVs were becoming like the dominant automobile, well, at least in the U.S. The rest of the world, who cares about? But in the U.S., consumers prefer the SUVs, right? So now BMW didn't, they weren't able to develop their own SUV, so they bought Range Rover, and basically they stole all that technology and eventually brought it in house, and they just got rid of Range Rover. They sold, but but essentially the best selling cars for Range Rover, for BMW, are those SUVs, right? Whatever they are, the X, whatever the hell it is, right? Same thing with Rolex. Look, Rolex they don't have time to develop, a million different watches, right? They don't have time to develop watches. But what if they can buy one company where they get really like well-respected watches? We're talking about like stuff like this, which, by the way, objectively speaking, beautiful watch, right? Beautiful watch. The problem with Carl Bucherer has always been, what the hell is Carl Bucherer? I mean, again, the movements, horology, quality, well respected, right? It's like very respected. But the name brand has like no value, right? So you could always get these things like 90% off, 75%, whatever it is, right? They basically go for nothing, right? And by the way, they do have a allegedly a history. They were, in theory, they were founded in 1888, which, by the way, 1888, that's good feng shui. 888, 1888, right? So what you're getting instantly with Bucherer is so. And what did Rolex do? Right, what they did was right away they or a year. They waited a year. They basically discontinued. So there's no more Carl Bucherer made. No more. Finished. What they're doing is they're not warehousing. I mean, they basically took all the talent, all the watchmakers, all the technology, bringing it in-house. And what they're going to do now is just make these watches Rolex. What you're going to see is they're going to take this technology, just like what BMW did. And because, listen, a lot of people didn't want to buy Range Rovers, right? I don't know, for whatever reason. But, with BMW, basically that's what it is. It's essentially a Range Rover or whatever, right? You saw the same thing happen with Bentley and Volkswagen, right? Volkswagen bought Bentley. And what are they doing? They basically took the Bentley. I mean, it was a little bit different. It was kind of in reverse, right? They bought the brand. Basically, the Bucherer Rolex deal is the reverse of Bentley and Volkswagen and BMW and Rolls, because here, Bentley, Volkswagen bought the Bentley brand and whatever, and essentially they put in the technology. Here, it's the opposite. What Rolex is doing is they're buying the technology, they're buying the watchmakers, which is really a very valuable asset. It's very difficult to get your hands on, to scale up. Oh yeah, the Austrian painter. Yeah, was Hitler born in 1889? Yeah, unbelievable, but true. Yeah, listen. The Swiss, the German, there's a very, very incestuous relationship. But what's interesting is, again, it's very difficult to scale up, a serious watch brand. This is like, respected horology. Even Bill Sanders would probably be able to say good things. So what is Rolex going to do? I guarantee you what they're going to do right away. I mean, they're going to get, this stuff is gone. Like these steel shitters, these are going to be gone. They don't need this garbage, right? What they're going to do is take something like this, right? Like this tourbillon, right? And essentially, they're going to slap a Rolex logo on it. They're going to basically flip the watch upside down. So the Rolex crown goes up top, tourbillon at the bottom. They'll probably case it in like, whatever, all the precious metals, right? They're not going to do in steel, obviously. And, sell it to the masses. And these are the prices they can get, right? Why can't, listen, if this was a Rolex for 80 grand, again, the big problem for Rolex is always that Cellini line, that Cellini line. Nobody wanted it. No. They're going to use those watchmakers to do high end. That's the whole purpose. The purpose is basically to do, because I think Rolex, their real kind of goal, the thing that really eats up Rolex is they don't get no respect, right? Rolex is really not respected in like let's say the world of high horology, right? Rolex is like, they laugh at them, right? Patek Philippe. Can you imagine this? You're the CEO of Rolex, and you got this Bucherer, Thierry Stern, and you got the Stunad or whatever it was, that AP, or Vacheron, whatever these chomos. They're all laughing at Rolex. And meanwhile, these guys are a bunch of peasants. Rolex is like the heavy hitter. But why are they laughing at Rolex? Because Rolex doesn't have, they don't have high horology. Oh, they don't have a tourbillon. Oh, they don't have a perpetual calendar. Oh, guess what? Now we have a perpetual calendar. In one fell swoop. And by the way, look at these colors. It's very, it's very, listen, it's just what happened with Volkswagen, right? The CEO of Volkswagen, it always bothered him that BMW and Mercedes, who, he always thought of them as like basically peasants. And, he wanted to build a better car, which he did, which was the Phaeton, right? Which never sold in America. The Americans were going to pay $100 grand for a Bentley, for Volkswagen. But so what he did was he bought Bentley, and he basically, put in the Phaeton, the Bentley on top of the Phaeton platform. And now you got a four-door car that goes 200 miles an hour, and you got the coupe, the Continental, and all that. I mean, that's what made Bentley successful, and also it took Volkswagen to the next level. And of course, they swap all the same technology with Lamborghini and everything else. So there's a lot of benefits, Porsche, all that stuff, right? A lot of benefits. Look, this watch, the only problem with this watch is it's not a Rolex. That's the only problem with this watch. I mean, great technology, everything is great, but nobody cares about it. But as a Rolex, oh, this is going to sell at a premium. Wait, 45 grand for a perpetual calendar? Are you kidding me? That's a good deal. Look at this. Rose gold perpetual calendar. I mean, this is actually a really good deal. Look at it, 45 grand for a perpetual calendar. I mean, again, it's not cheap, but what else are you going to get? I mean, you got to compare. The cheapest one really would be like, 100%. No. The Phaeton he succeeded. It was the best. It was the best. It was the best car. It was the best car. The thing is, look, the Americans aren't going to buy. The Americans aren't going to buy, a Volkswagen for 100 grand. But in Europe, Volkswagen is respected, right? So this guy's dentist, it was a V8, right? So it was a V8. Listen, Audi also made great cars. I don't know about the Audi today, but back in the day, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, the Audi A8 was the best car. It was much better than Mercedes S-Class. But people like, oh, Audi, but it was an incredible. The quality was incredible. The A8, unbelievable car. And essentially the Bentley Continental, the Flying Spur, that's the Phaeton. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. The Audi went downhill. I mean, they really started doing really well, like in the early 2000s, like 2005 to 10. I think that was kind of the golden age for Audi. I had an Audi A4 Cabriolet, I think around, what is it, 2005, 6, 7, 8. When did I had that car for 5 years, actually. And I loved that car. It was great. And it wasn't even so I mean, it was just a great car. I mean, yeah, of course, after it hits 100,000 miles, it starts going downhill because whatever. But it was great. I loved it. And they started making really good cars like around 2010. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I think, with the emissions, they started cutting corners. I don't know what happened. But the interiors, the build quality was amazing in the early 2000s. And then they just went downhill. So I don't know. But what's going on is this again. So again, this watch, imagine this, just picture this watch as a Rolex. It's not going to be Cellini. It's just going to be Rolex. And look at it. The colors are Rolex colors. They got the chocolate. They got the chocolate dial. They're going to do a green dial. Look at this. These are like Rolex colors. And you can't tell me this is not a good looking watch. Again, the problem with the watch is right there. That's the problem. That logo, that stupid logo, which makes the watch like worthless. I mean, the logo is garbage. The name is garbage. It's horrible. All you got to do is swipe that out for a Rolex crown, and you're done. I think maybe the cases, they're probably going to do the cases. They're gonna redesign the cases a little bit. But also, here's the other thing: these Bucherer watches, they're not small watches; they're big watches. So, which is part of the Rolex kind of ethos. I mean, Rolex does have peasant DNA. They really do. Like if you look, all the watches, they're kind of bulky. They're sturdy watches, right? They're sturdy peasant watches made for outdoor work, field work, right? They're not made for aristocrats. It's made for to work in the fields. And let me see. Oh, look at this. Shit. Look at this. Yeah, no, they got this is what Rolex needs. Look at this. Purple dial. Is that a purple dial? Beautiful dial. Beautiful. I mean, I got to tell you something. I think this is great. And the green, wow. Again, whose color is that? I don't know. You tell me. Is that Rolex color? I think it is. I mean, it doesn't get more Rolex than that. You know. I think they also have a world time. They got the Sex Tourist watch for the archy luxuries of the world. Where is the Sex Tourist watch? Hang on a second. I saw they have a world time. World timer. There you go. They got chronographs, perpetual calendars. I mean, everything. I'm assuming these are in-house movements. I have no. Is it in-house? Do I really care? I mean, this needs a little help. This is a little bit dull. It's a little bit boring. But we're very close. Very, very close. Uh, German car industry is really finished from now. Listen, I think what happened again. I don't know the details, but I think what happened is because of all these governments for the emissions, they want everybody to like do I don't know. Yeah, they want everybody to make the engine. I think okay. Here's the problem with Audi. Because I had that A4, which was a great car, so comfortable. It was just what a pleasure. I mean, really, what a pleasure. Yeah, the proportions, everything was great. Yeah, very practical. You got plenty of space in the back. You got plenty of luggage space. Um, and But then I bought an Audi wagon. When was that? Maybe 8 years ago. I had an Audi I don't know what the A5, A6. I don't know A5. I think A5 wagon, A5 wagon, right? Because I like wagons, right? And they did have an A6 wagon, which was great, but it was discontinued at the time, right? So anyway, I had the A4, and all of a sudden I realized, man, this thing, it's got a four-cylinder engine. It's got a four-cylinder engine, which is like it's just not enough power. It just feels very. I mean, it's just very underpowered. It's just really very like. I mean, it's not terrible, but you do notice it. You constantly have to push the gas. You constantly. It was bullshit, and the seating wasn't as comfortable. Yeah, there you go. It was four-cylinder car, and how much were they asking? They were asking. I don't know. I always buy my cars used, but listen, four cylinders is bullshit. So what they do is again, I'm not a mechanic. I don't know the technicalities of this, but from my understanding, is basically they use a four-cylinder, and then they it's turbocharged, right? So, and from what I hear, it's not gonna when you turbocharge a four-cylinder, it's really not good for the engine. So these things are really you have the lag. It's garbage. It's garbage. No, the car was garbage. Yeah, it wasn't, and the seating wasn't comfortable. The new seating that they had. The car is beautiful. I mean, the design, they had a beautiful design. The Audi design, let's call it circa, 2014, 2010, early 2010s was great. I think they peaked around 2010 in their design language. After that, they started like I don't know what they just started making. They started looking cheap, and yeah, the four cylinders bullshit. Like I want to have 12 cylinders. I mean, yeah. Listen, I got 12 cylinders. I got the Phaeton. I got the Phaeton, and it's unbelievable. You need at least 8 cylinders. I mean, this stuff with four cylinders is a lot of bullshit. Uh, oh, is that what it is? A6. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Wow, it's 100 grand? That's crazy. But the A6 was like at one point was like a really good. The A8 was unbelievable. I mean, the A8 back in, I don't know, 15 years ago, they had these speakers, or I think they're subwoofers or tweeters, whatever it is that rose from the back in the rear seats. It looked like some sort. I mean, the woodwork, the paneling, the wood paneling, the veneers, The leather, everything was great on the Audi. It was the best. I mean, they're low. Everything was just great, and then like they just you know what happened? What happened? Okay. Oh, we got all the Europeans are here, so they know the deal. Build quality, turbo diesels, yeah, turbo engines. There we go. Turbo engines, yeah. Now listen, that's why I think probably look, the smartest thing to do is really to buy like a is to buy sort of like pre 2012 cars that we need to get like pre 2012 cars which have like the 8-cylinder 12-cylinder engines which don't have all the iPad bullshit electronics, and then you actually have a reliable car, and I think those are going to be valuable. I think the Bentley Continentals, those like 2008, those cars that are 12-cylinder, I think those are probably going to. I mean, they're not really dropping in value; they're holding value, and they're going to increase because people are going to realize, wow, like they don't want this bullshit, this 4-cylinder hybrid bullshit with the stop start engine, the stop start engine. You know, I have this. I actually I don't know. I got this like Mercedes which has that now. I never had that before. Look, it's got the start stop engine, and the only way to get rid of it is every time I turn on the car, I got to press I got to turn it off, or I got to put this into sport. Um, there we go. Okay, okay, that could be. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, that could be because I think probably that was kind of the last. That was their last gasp. They just wanted to make like a really good quality stuff. And I think the kids today, like, I don't think they really care. I don't think they care about like. I mean, they're used to iPhones. I mean, they grew up. I mean, you have a generation today that grew up on iPhones and disposable electronics. They want that flat, touch screen bullshit. They want to smear their fingerprints all over it, and that's what they want. And then they want to throw it out. So yeah, you got a world time. So again, you're going to have this as a Rolex. Look at that. Again, you just got to clean it up. I mean, it's got to be gold, obviously. It's got to be gold. Let's see, limited editions, limited editions. Again, they're gonna. I mean, they can get rid of like this stuff, this garbage here, like the diving watch. I mean, they're not gonna. This is obviously is it's not even coming up. Okay, okay. I mean, this stuff is gonna be gone. Like this is the trash. Like this, like all they're gonna get. All the peasant watches are basically they're gone, right? But the this stuff like the tourbillon, world time, perpetual calendar, that they're going to use that. Oh, they got a minute repeater. Oh shit, minute repeater. Yeah, I think this watch is a couple $100,000. And by the way, this minute repeater, I don't know. To me, it looks just as good as a Patek, maybe better than Patek. It looks it looks just as good as a Patek minute repeater to me. Or Coda 1159. I mean, they start looking the same. Again, I think obviously Rolex has to put their own touch on the watch. You got a tourbillon minute repeater, right? You got the baguettes. Look at these. These are the baguettes that Rolex uses. Again, the big problem with the watch is that stupid logo. I mean, the logo is horrible. It's like, I don't know. I think they bought it on Fiverr or something. Yeah, the diving watches. Ironically, I'm actually on my wrist. I'm wearing the Submariner. I'm wearing the King Tut. I've had it on this for the last week or so. I gotta tell you something. I really do understand. You know what? I've come to a realization about something with Rolex. It's like people kind of take it for granted, but when Rolex, there's something really what they do have. They do have something magical about the watch in terms of when you look, forget about the bracelet on the case, right? Because again, the bracelets, they had cheap bracelets back in the day. But when you look at a Rolex dial of like, any modern Rolex dial, like, I mean, meaning like anything from the 50s on onwards or 60s and onwards, there really is something magical about the Rolex dial. Again, I'm not here to be a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy of Rolex. I take it for what it is, but there's just a magical quality to it. There really is. And they're very reliable watches, right? So yeah, it looks like a pharmacy. That's the problem. Uh, yeah, I think. Look, I think basically what Bucherer needs, they need the Rolex. They need the Rolex makeover. They need the Rolex makeover. It's kind of like, you got the technology, but they need that Bentley body and logo. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to buy the car. I mean, listen, nobody wanted to buy the Volkswagen Phaeton, but as soon as you put the Bentley logo on it, and you put that body on top. And even the body wasn't even that great. But again, as soon as you slap the Bentley logo on, all of a sudden everybody wants it, and everybody's going crazy for it. Inside, it's a Volkswagen, right? I mean, it was probably the seat. The seats were probably more comfortable back when it was Volkswagen, because I think they were Audi seats, and Audi at that time really had great seats, very ergodynamic. So let's see more. Let's see what else do they have. Wow, they got some cool stuff. Look at this. I mean, nobody talks. Can you believe that nobody talks about Bucherer? I mean, if this was a watch put out by Patek, people would be going bananas. If this had a Patek logo, if this had a Coda 1159 logo, even a Coda 1159 logo, people would be going bananas, bananas. I mean, objectively, it's a beautiful watch. It really is. And look at this. They do the rainbow. They got the rainbow. They got your rainbows. I mean, this is kind of I don't know. This looks kind of like a gay rainbow. It's got some weird. I don't know. This something is wrong with this watch. This is a little bit weird looking. But let's see what else they have. They got these are kind of shitters. Yeah, this stuff is not. They got these shit. Oh, holy shit! These guys have a lot. See, this is the problem. This is why this is okay. They had too many watches. That's the thing. They got too much garbage. They had too much. You don't need all this garbage, right? Like, you just need. Look at this. Does this remind you of Patek Philippe? There's your Patek Philippe. There's your Patek Philippe. $8,000 for a what is this? A date with whoa, look at this. It's a calendar. It's a calendar. It's a calendar month date. You got the month, you got the date, which is good. And the hands are good. I mean, everything is great. I got everything about this watch is really nice, except for the logo. The logo is what kills the watch. But look at this. They got so many of these models. That's why they went bust. They got too much. Nobody needs all this garbage. I mean, too much. This is too much. See, this is what Rolex would never do this. Rolex would never put out like 50 different versions. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, I see these are Boston, Berlin editions or whatever bullshit. I don't know, whatever. Oh, it's in the stores. I see what they did. This was released. Yeah, so this is what they're going to do. This is what Rolex also is going to do. They're going to do a special Rolex for, let's say, the New York store. They're going to do a London Rolex, a Dubai Rolex. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I think any of these watches would be great if they had a Rolex logo and a little bit of a more Rolex type of vibe. There is something that Rolex does in terms of the design of the dial and the whole. I don't even know how to explain it. There's something about it that's like very. it's unlike any other watch. It's like, I'm looking at the watch right now, and it's like, wow. You kind of take it for granted because they're so common. But when you really look at it, you really understand there is a real genius to it. There really is. And the other thing is, they're very reliable, right? It's very reliable. And, you can get them repaired without any issues. There's no bullshit like you have with Patek, like you have with AP. There's none of that nonsense. So, yeah, again, the Sky Dweller is a great watch, except it's too big. It's just too, it's disproportional. It's not even big. It's totally out of proportion. It's like top heavy. It's just a weird, everything about the watch is just weird. The dial is great, but the case itself is terrible. So that's what's going on. This is, again, we're giving you the deep inside information that you're not going to get anywhere else. That's right. Nowhere else. So this is the big plan, the master plan of Rolex for world domination, right? They got Bucherer that gives them the retail distribution, so now they could do special boutique editions, which they're definitely going to do. Rolex is definitely going to do, boutique only editions for cities. Again, they're going to do a Dubai edition, London edition, Moscow edition as soon as they make Putin makes friends with everybody, and they're going to have the Rolex dress watches, which are going to be, again, if you compare this to AP, Patek, or whatever, it's for sure it's just as good. I mean, I'm sure you could ask what's his name? You could ask Bill Sanders. Bill Sanders would know. Oh yeah, they're from Lucerne, right? Lucerne. Yeah, I walked on that bridge. It's the famous wooden bridge. The famous wooden bridge. I mean, their water is amazing in Lucerne. You can drink the water like right out of the lake. It's like delicious. It's better than Fiji water. Look at this. I mean, shit. I don't know. It would be very, very difficult for anybody to tell me that. Yeah, I think it would be very difficult, and I think this is also what do you call it? This is if I'm not mistaken, this is that automatic winder, which is on the outside of the movement. The winder is on the outside. Whatever you call it, thing. It's on the look at, and they got this. They got the fast release on the straps. I mean, everything about the watch is perfect. Again, everything. I mean, really, everything. The design, everything. It's just that it doesn't have the Rolex logo. This is just as good. Look at the design of that dial. Just as good as Coda 1159. Maybe better. I think it's better in some ways. The Guilloche. Actually, let me see. What are they saying? They're saying design. "3D guilloche pattern applied by laser." It's applied by laser. So the guilloche is made by laser, which frankly is, so these guys go, oh, it's made by hand. Nobody gives a shit if it's handmade or not. Really, this handmade stuff is for the birds. I don't want handmade. I want laser. All my stuff made by lasers, space lasers, space lasers. All right, that's what's going on. All right, we're gonna. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Sky Dweller, yeah. By the way, I want to show you something. I want to show you something cool. Which I was looking at this. Hang on a second. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna pull this up. Just okay. Let me show you something. Which is pretty cool actually. Because yeah, I'm looking at this date now. I'm looking. Wow, this is like I'm I'm kind of I hate to say this. I'm kind of getting into the I'm kind of into this new day date because the design of the dial and the everything is better. It's more. I'm talking about the 36. It's actually more. And if you compare this now, if you really compare, uh, you compare this to the let's say to a Royal Oak or a Nautilus, this is a much better watch. Again, we're talking about the new one, right? The problem is, again, it's a little bit of a victim of its own success because they've been so ubiquitous. Everybody has seen them for 50 years, right? Or no, 70 years. Wait, 1950s. That's 75 years people have seen the day, right? So it's like, it's very ubiquitous. And the thing with the day on top, it's a little bit whatever. But when you think about it, if you want to have like a flashy, full gold sport watch, and this is like legitimately a sport watch. I mean, like this watch, you can go swimming in this. You can play sports, golf, whatever, without any worries. You try doing that with a Royal Oak or a Nautilus, they'll fall apart. I don't think they're even waterproof. I don't think the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. I mean, allegedly they're waterproofed, like I don't know, like in a puddle. But actually they tell you you're not supposed to swim in them. They're not really made for that. And those are allegedly uh, nautical watches. And I'm looking at this. I'm saying, shit, this is like, you know, I don't know what's wrong with this watch. And by the way, the price of these are dropping, right? Like these, like whatever it is right now, I think that they're asking for 45, 45.5. Wait, how much is it? 45.5? Yeah, 46 grand. I mean, compared to, think about this, it's a solid rose gold watch with diamonds, right? How much would that be if it was a Royal Oak or a Nautilus? It would be, double the price, and it would be half as good, half as reliable. And these are going to drop. This is going to be, I would say, under 40 grand I mean, right now it should be under 40. I mean, you should definitely be getting a 20% discount. And you know what? Here, the only problem with the Rolex is it's dead money. Like not these are just dead money. They'll never go up in value. Historically the precious metals Rolex is just dead money. Like even if you look at the watches, you look at the day dates that go for 100 grand now, these like rare dials or whatever, Stella dial, you're still going to lose money. Why? Because that watch was the equivalent of, let me see, if those watches were, let's call it, I don't know, 10,000 in the late 70s, that's almost 50 years ago, right? 10 grand, that's like 50 grand in today's money. Okay, so it's 50 grand in today's money. If you would have put that 10 grand into, if you would have compounded 10 grand at 5%, that would be, for 50 years, it's probably 100 grand. So it's not, I mean, again, the Rolex precious metals is going to be just dead money. So even if you buy the watch for 40 grand, 10 years from now, it'll be worth like 50 grand, but you're losing money because of, interest rates and opportunity and all that stuff. When you factor it all in, inflation, it'll barely keep up. It'll keep up with inflation if you're lucky. That's it. It's going to be like a 4% type of compounder, but you got to get it. You got to get it like 20% off. So that means for this watch, it's going to be how much is that? About 38,000. 38,000 is the maximum. 38, 39,000. I'm talking about for this model. And the basic one, this is the 36, and the basic one's even less. And the same thing applies to the 40s. Actually, you know what? I think the new 36, the way the case is, I haven't had one on the wrist, but from what I see in the photos or whatever, the design is it's much different. It doesn't have that bubble appearance like the old ones. You know, the old day dates were a little bit like thick. They were a little bit more like a bubble type of watch, like a bubble back. This is a little bit more modern and a little more sleek. It's substantial, but I think it's a little bit more sleek. I'm gonna have to take a look at one. But I'm really getting into this. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till the prices drop, and I got to make some money. This has been a rough year, so I got to make some money here. Which means you guys need to start sending in money now. Now. We got to get those. We got to get those super chats. We need the super chats. Unbelievable, but true. All right, that's what's going on. Let me know what you punters think, and leave your nasty, vicious comments below. And we'll see you on the next one. Who knows when, though? Who knows when? You know, we may not do a live stream for a long time.